in the distant, magical land of Philadelphia, two deeply, deeply traumatized, whole-ass entire idiots make each other's lives a living hell as they try to navigate wizard grad school. But when, of course, they both win the same prestigious magic research grant together at the same time, they're gonna have to get along or risk losing everything. And by everything, I mean graduating. Together, they must face their deeply, deeply tragic pasts, their uncertain futures, and the fact that, much like themselves, the conjuration and evocation schools of magic are really pretty similar, actually. This is already a disaster. I really hope everyone appreciates the intro, because that's going to be the only spoiler-free part of this video. Not like intentionally spoiler expensive. I'm just going to be like talking about the book, and spoilers are going to happen because I've met me and that is going to happen. Today we're talking about The Entanglement of Rival Wizards by Sarah Rash. It was a goddamn fucking delight, and I didn't expect it to be like, just, that's it. I didn't expect it to be. Like, I expected it to be like good for everyone else and then just not my thing, because that's what happens literally anytime I pick up a fucking romance of any kind. But I loved it. I really did. I texted my friend on like the 4th page. I was like, you know what? Actually, this is a delight. You'll probably also really like it. Like I said, the rest of this video probably going to be spoiler free, because I'm just going to like give a rundown of the like basic plot points of the book and then talk about the things in those areas that I really liked, because I liked a whole lot. And if Scam Likely could stop calling me, that'd be great. I need my phone for notes, not phone calls. So that's what we're doing. I'm also working off notes that I wrote like 3 weeks ago, because I needed to beat Hades 2. So this video also just didn't happen as soon as I wanted it to, and like, I want this to be over and done and out of my head so that I can get back to what really matters. Buffalo Hunter Hunter, of course. The Entanglement of Rival Wizards is, firstly, fucking adorable. Secondly, a enemies to lovers magic STEM romance. I didn't see the tagline of Allie Hazelwood meets D&D when I put it on my holds list, like months ago before it was even out. If I'd seen that, I would not have read it, because I've read one Allie Hazelwood thing and I hated it with every fiber of my being. I hated it. It's the one where her like professor dies and leaves her a house, and then she ends up having to share it with her professor's nephew or something. In any case, I hated it. It was a bad book. This, though, I really enjoyed. I didn't expect it to be as heavy as it was. Like, I really expected fairly light romance. It's not exactly what I got. Like, the romance was really cute and the characters are really good. It really, there's a lot to it. I didn't see content warnings when I was reading the book, but I wrote down mine. So if there's like an official list somewhere, I would like to find it, but I didn't. yeah, psychological, emotional, and physical and verbal abuse of a child, which is not happening on the page so much as like recounted. Child neglect and abandonment, child endangerment, also recounted, torture, PTSD episodes, panic attacks, anxiety attacks, self harm on screen, but not like, it's not knives and it's not blood. And, you know, it's not cutting oneself exactly, but it is explicit on page. It's just not, it's more realistic approach to dealing with self-harm rather than a very sensationalized approach, which I also really appreciated. It's just, it was a lot more than I really expected it to be, and it it was harder on the second read to reconcile how heavy it was with like how light the book is. But it was really, I still enjoyed it. We're going to get into it. The book follows like a single POV of Sebastian Walsh, who is a 24-year-old human chaos goblin. A disaster, so bisexual. I think the first note I wrote down, hello, sir. The first time I was reading it was, this man has never sat correctly in a chair in his life. This kid, you can fit so much trauma into this, like, this twink. It's unreal how much trauma there is actually kind of astounding that he's as well adjusted as he is, and he's not well adjusted. He's got a he's of course a wizard. He's in school for like evocation wizardry, and he's got a familiar that is a fox named Nick. But Nick is invisible, and he's invisible by choice, because it turns out one of Sebastian's exes thought he was just too into his studies and wanted more attention and turned Nick invisible. Gritty? Gritty, stop. Thank you. Jesus, I don't know what he's doing. Anyway, Nick's invisible. He's adorable. And so that Sebastian can see him, he's got, it gives him like a little hat. So he wears a fedora sometimes. It's really cute, and I like him. The cats are going crazy. He's got a best friend that he's known since childhood. His name is Auroch Monroe. He is a half giant. And you later meet his mother, who is not explicitly stated, but it's implied that she is a full giant, which means they fall into, like, his parents fall into my favorite fantasy, like, straight mashup, which is large woman, small man. And I appreciate that. It is always like, it's just, yeah, I love that for everyone. I just love it. It turns out I fucking hate her. Gorgia Monroe fucking sucks, and I hate her. But I'm gonna like leave out a lot of talk of Auroch in this book, because the next book is about him. And I sense some deconstruction in the future, and that's gonna be really interesting, and I'm ready for it. He plays this game called RAWball, which is another one of those D&D references, rules as written, wherein you interpret the rules quite, like, literally as they are written within the source material, rather than interpreting it as, like, intended by the author, or in a way that, like, makes sense within your game and is, like, probably necessary to how you're playing. Beyond that, I don't fucking understand. The magic casters follow the rules and everyone else doesn't. I don't know. I'm looking forward to the next book just to understand how the game is played. He plays the game. He's a mother hen. He is also traumatized. I don't know what the cats are doing, but Gritty is trying to knock his cat tree over. Good God. He and Seb are trauma bonded in the way that they have shared trauma, not in that one of them is the traumatizer and one is the traumatized. But they're deeply trauma bonded, deeply codependent. At the very least, Orok sees a therapist, so, someone's got their eye on the ball that way. Like, the book itself follows, like, the pretty standard enemies to lovers. So you're like, your enemies, forced proximity with their, get along project on. There's like, oh no, I understand him. And I don't want to, but I do. And then they kiss. And then they fall in love. Well, they fuck nasty first. And then, something terrible happens. It's probably a misunderstanding. And then they break up. And then they sort of like go on some reflection and realize, oh, no, that was me, or it was some other thing. It's fine. Then a grand romantic gesture, and then they win, and then it's the end. And then there's usually like an epilogue that's like a year or so later where they either get engaged or they get married. And that's kind of how it goes. The boys, like, the book opens up on the boys pranking. What they're doing is not a prank. It's a biohazard and probably a crime. They're pranking the conjuration department because there is a long-standing beef between conjuration and evocation because they're relatively similar. Like, in all honesty, in actual D&D, there are a lot of conjuration spells that actually probably should be evocation spells, and there's also a lot of evocation spells that should be necromancy spells. In, like, the broadest of terms, within the book, evocation is make, like, an elemental thing happen. And conjuration is make a physical thing that exists somewhere else come to me. Which is, like, loosely what it is in actual D&D. But, like, evocation is more like create and manipulate energy and elemental power and, like, tap into power to, like, make reactions more explosive. Kind of, so, like, fireball, magic missile, and then, like, healing spells because you're dealing with life energy, which is wrong. That should be fucking necromancy. Just because necromancy deals with death, like, that still used to be life. Like, there's only so much you can do with a dead thing. You could also do some things with live things. Not all necromancy is bad. It's fucking fine. And conjuration is, like, within D&D, it's less the, like, make a physical thing come to me. It is more like summoning things. And within that, it's the, like, the manipulation of space more than it is the physical object. So it's like lots of teleportation spells, summoning fae, summon familiar, that kind of stuff. So it's just a little bit more complicated in D&D, but, I mean, like, it's obviously she gets it. She understands D&D. Sarah Resch, I mean, the writer. They're pranking conjuration department, and they're specifically, like, pranking one specific person because of this very long rivalry. And by pranking, I mean, it's a retaliation, because the previous prank by conjuration to evocation was bad and potentially dangerous. And Seb's like, I'm going to release a reanimated corpse, an ancient reanimated corpse, into the conjuration lab to mess with one guy's stuff specifically, because I'm convinced he's the one I'm in a prank war with. Idiot. They're all idiots, but in, like, a really realistic kind of way, which I do appreciate. And the one person they're obviously pranking is I can't say his full name normally. I want to say it in a really, like, I wish I could do a Brennan Lee Mulligan high elf voice. I fucking can't. But his name is Elethor Toriel. Elethor. You gotta make a face while you say it. His name's Theo. But it's Elethor, who's a bitch. But he's allowed. He's a half elf. He's very stoic. He's very tall. He's got like long dark hair, but it's like half shaved on one side of his head. He's got lots of tattoos. Some of them are even magical, which is cool as shit. I do like, next time when I actually get to play D&D as a character and not the DM, I really want to do like magical tattoos, because that just sounds really cool. Oh, he's got like piercings. He's got like the snake bite piercings. He's tall and hot and angry and a bitch. And we love him for that. Not a lot else, but we do love him. He comes from a big, powerful, important family funded by blood money, and they like fund arcane forces. They do some evil experimentation and war crimes and, you know, fun stuff. Which also, they pull the corpse out of an interdimensional bag, which is a bag of holding, but like everyone has those. But I do like the touch that she did remember to actually say, like, if you put a living being in there, they would suffocate to death. And I appreciate that as a dungeon master who has to remind my idiot friends that every single time they want to do something stupid and immoral, even within the bounds of D&D. It's like, yeah, you get a bunch of socialists together and immediately they turn into fantasy cops. Fucking wild. It's like when you play Stardew Valley and suddenly it's like, oh, I'm a capitalist now. It's like that phenomenon. They're idiots is what I'm saying. After they do this prank and they go out to a party, and wouldn't you know it, they're sitting there getting really drunk. Well, Oryx's getting really drunk. Sebastian is kind of just hitting on his teammates. Also, they say one of my favorite quotes of the entire book, and I sent it to my friend the day I was like, you know what, you should fucking also read this. Because Oryx and Sebastian have such a close, like, codependent relationship kind of thing. Everyone already thinks they're dating. And so Oryx's been missing out on so many dates and what have you, because they think he's with Sebastian. And he's like, you're worse than a wingman. You're like the opposite of a wingman. And Sebastian immediately goes, a thigh woman. And I laughed because that's just very funny. So after pranking, obviously they go out to a party. And who's there? Fucking Theo. And they have a spat. And it's bad. It was the first time I clocked two things, because there's a quote, and I'll read it here in a second, about from Sebastian, that I was like, it's giving real trauma that's sort of like disproportionate to the bones of what this book is, and that like very standard Hallmark enemies to lovers like framing that we're within. Like it feels like we're gonna get a lot darker than this frame can handle, or he's just having like a really disproportionate reaction to what is going to be a virtually nothing situation later, and like the situation will be proportionate to the framing, which is wildly disproportionate to the way he's behaving. I feared that. And then we got to this conversation that they have a fight, and first thing I clocked, Theo doesn't hate Sebastian. The things and the insults he's throwing are to himself. He's just parroting his own fears and insecurities, and Sebastian is in the way. And 2 is Sebastian really, really is that deeply traumatized, and what's coming later is gonna be big and scary. And if it's not, I'm gonna be mad. But it really, his PTSD, because this boy's got PTSD. When his like traumas like are triggered, his reaction is explosive anger and rage. It's like a very quick, impulsive, just like, oh no. It's a quick, impulsive, like flash bang anger and like violence, whatever. This reaction, this like chain reaction happens so quickly, and then it's over and gone. It's casting fireball. It's sudden, it's bright, and it's fiery, and it hurts. It's not the like flashbacks and derealization that you would typically see in media representations of PTSD. He's not reenacting what has happened to him so much as he is hell-bent on preventing that from happening again. And I appreciated the way it was handled, because he feels it coming on, and he's like, I need to get out of here or I will fireball this man. And there's a quote earlier, the one that made me fear it, and it just sticks with me. So this quote comes from earlier when they're pranking. It's like, the evocation department will get our revenge, and the piece of me that's always a little on fire, always a little shaky, always a little livid, will be satisfied. And that sentence could be taken in a goofy way, but it just stuck out to me the first time reading it. Is like, this is very big. This is very, very, these are big words, and this is a very big, scary feeling. And it's like, is that going to hold for the rest of the book? And so you get to that like first fight scene between them, and it's like, okay. It's like, okay, this might actually hold. This might be real. But yeah, and also, yeah, it's the clocking Theo. There's like a lot of his hatred, and the reason it gets turned on Sebastian is because I think in a lot of ways he hears what Sebastian says, and he knows what Sebastian says about him and what Sebastian thinks of him, and he's afraid that Sebastian's right. And it's such an obvious thing, and it is obvious in all of their interactions throughout the book. Like, it is a constant, which I also really appreciate. The breadcrumbing of character, like, development and motivation was just really, 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 really good. Also, Theo isn't even doing the pranks. So Sebastian's just been fucking bullying this man. And all of their like interactions later, before they get to like the moments of understanding, are the behaviors of a man who is stuck in a room with the very angry twink who's been bullying him. But we're not there yet, because first it's the next day, and they gotta go to the brunch where they announce who gets the big grant that they both need to fund their research in order to graduate. And Sebastian didn't plan ahead as much as he thought he did, and gets a little bit waylaid by stuff left in the washing machine to get wrinkly and mildewy. And also there's a bridge a troll on the South Street Bridge, which is how he gets to campus. So he is late when he eventually gets there, and has to like run and get dressed in the bathroom. And wouldn't you know it, Theo's in the bathroom. And then they have another fight, and then they say some more shit, and Theo's like, no, I'm not going to get out. And then, of course, Sebastian has to get undressed in front of him, and he blushes. And like, I was like, oh, you two know that you've got it hot for each other. Like, you want to fuck nasty, and you both know you do. So what is stopping you from just hate fucking? And there are reasons later, and it actually pays off. Because I was just like, why aren't you doing this? And it's like, this is going to be stupid. But no, it does pay off. It pays off really well, and it hurts. And then he gets dressed. And they both go sit in a room in a banquet hall, have brunch with a whole bunch of people. And then they get it announced that, hey, wouldn't you know it, Seb and Theo win. Not just in like a, hey, let's bridge the gap between evocation and conjuration, but your two projects are so similar in function, it would be stupid to pick one over the other, so we're going to smush them together. And you guys are going to work together. And actually, like, it does make a lot of sense, because within magic, you have spell, like, components, you draw sigils, you say words and chant. It depends on the spell. Basically, be able to cap and control the energy exchange between the caster and the components that are needed to feed the spell. And Theo's is to protect and like cap the energy exchange between the caster and the actual thing that has been conjured or summoned or whatever, because there's still like an energy connection between them as it exists in this place. So if that is damaged, that damage flows back into the caster. It's energy exchange. Listen, I'm not smart. After a couple days, for Sebastian to have some time to relax, to calm down, and he's complaining, of course, to Uruk, because they are, of course, roommates also. And Uruk casually lets slip, oh, hey, oh, yeah, I didn't tell you this. Our mothers are coming to take me and try to take you home for winter break. Urzoth's birthday? I don't remember. I'm sorry, I didn't want you to panic. And then we realize just how bad the relationship is between Sebastian and his family, because I hate their parents so much. I find their behavior, the way they speak to Sebastian, all of this, I find it unfucking forgivable. Oh, I hate them. Gorgia Monroe hates Sebastian because Sebastian's a bad influence on Uruk. And something happened at camp that they like dropped out, and it's Sebastian's fault in Gorgia's eyes. And she's an absolute bitch about it and says some pretty damning shit that, like, if my own parent said that to my friend, I would not speak to my parent again. Like, some of the shit she says is real bad. But like I said, I'm leaving that for the next book, where hopefully she gets a little bit of comeuppance. Even if it's like just emotional, whatever. I hate her. Sebastian's mom, also a bitch. If your son freezes hugging you and has like a trauma response to being in the same room with you, you're a bad fucking parent. You are unforgivably bad. His parents clearly think of him as a disappointment, and they think of him as a troublemaker and a failure and a disgrace and all of these horrible things, and they let him know that, how disappointed they are. So whatever happened at camp, it sucks, and it was very, very bad, and clearly that's where the trauma happened to Uruk and Sebastian. And so much blame is put on him, and it's so bad because they don't believe him, and both of his parents treat him like absolute shit. Like, you would think Like, I hate them. But one thing I do really appreciate is that his reactions to them and his thoughts about them are on par with how poorly they're treating him. Because I don't remember what book it was. It was up there. It might be over there now. Okay. I found the book I was talking about. Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon. I picked that up because I was like, that sounds cute. And if not, I can just like, I don't know, like have a break, brain off, read a cute thing. I DNF'd it on page 10 because her reaction to the awful shit her mother was saying was just like not proportionate. Her mother was saying some horrible shit and she was having like a milquetoast reaction to it. It was just like, I don't care. It's like, he is aware of how awful his family is, and he's not pretending otherwise, which I appreciate. It's where we also find out that his shit ass dad is taking over, possibly. He's in the running to take over the Camp Marathil, which is like a is boot camp for high school students. Like, it's summer boot camp. And he's taking over. And he can eat my ass with a fork and fucking knife. I hate his parents. And his mom says some shit like, you can finally heal the rift between you. I'm like, So obviously, Sebastian does not go back. And and Orok is a fucking saint. He's like, you know what? You can say no to your parents. If they call, you don't have to pick up. He's always like right there to like, your parents are shit. You do not have to take this. You don't have to talk to them. You don't have to pick up their phone calls anymore. You don't have to answer their texts. It's fine. You don't have to. And I appreciated that also. And I kind of wish Sebastian had followed through with that, just for his own sanity. So Sebastian comes out of winter break. He's going to go in. They're going to work together. It'll be fine. He's going to be the bigger man. He can't be the bigger man because he's the fucking bully. And I wish there was like some acknowledgement of that, but there kind of really isn't. Which is like one downside. Like, I just wish there was a little bit. And their first day does not get off to a good start. And they have a little bit of a tiff. And they're like, you know what? Fuck this. We're not actually going to work together. We're going to lie. And we're going to say that just like irreconcilable differences between our magic classes. And we're just going to do our own stuff. And then that's kind of just what they do. Of course, like Sebastian, because he knows and he's refusing to acknowledge it, that they got the hots for each other. And he's like, Theo, like, he's like leaving early, and Theo's like, oh yeah, quitting, calling it quit early, blah, blah, blah. He's being a little bitch, but once again, he's allowed. Especially like, yeah, no, I've got a hot date. But he's just going out for hot dogs with Orok and Orok's like RAWball team. This is one other complaint of mine. A hot dog with elote and or pimento cheese, that's not funky. I do that all the time. That's normal. This is not like a hill I would normally die on. I do live in an area that used to have a hot dog restaurant that had the best hot dogs. I am not joking. They're so fucking good. But like kimchi and potato chips on and everything, like poppy seed, but everything bun. And that was really good. It just like a whole bunch of shit. But the fucking kimchi dog. I had to go turn more lights on because I can't do this in a timely fucking manner. In any case, they're getting hot dogs, and Sebastian's dad calls to be a fucking prick, which makes Sebastian, of course, panic because his dad never calls, because his dad doesn't ever want to talk to him ever the fuck again because of what happened at Camp Marathel. But he's just calling to see how semester's going. How are his classes? Oh, you don't take classes anymore as a grad student? What on earth? Oh, you're still working with that Toriel kid, because of course the Toriels fucking run Camp Marathel, so they're responsible for whatever fucking happened. And his dad's just like, hey, don't ruin this chance, because they're big and they're important. Fuck this guy. I hate him. In any case, it makes Sebastian panic. And it makes him, like, he panics in that very specific way of, you're, like, he's right to an extent, and I can't fuck this up, but I can't fuck this up because if I lose this opportunity, I have literally no fucking support. Like, my family will not support me as clearly as you've just shown right now, and I do need to, like, step up and make nice. And then, of course, he goes to leave his number on Theo's desk, and Theo, a man who has been bullied by this angry twink, has put a ward over it. And Sebastian just, like, in one of those episodes of, like, rage, which in this particular instance felt more like when I have a meltdown, because I am a, as they say, Tylenol user. It's like a very fast, like, this thing is in my way, it is not cooperating the way it should, it is interrupting me, and I need to break it. And it's immediate, unthinking, like, situation, and he does it, and he apparently breaks it so bad, Theo's gonna have to fucking cleanse the area later, because he, proving his own need for his project, like, he just needs a sliver of iron, and without even thinking, just has an iron lock in his hand, and the entire thing is gone. Like, he just explodes. And it was a good if painful moment, but it was also just, like, more confirmation of how hurt this man has been for so long. So now we enter the understanding phase, because they gotta go to a cocktail party with all the donors, and they gotta schmooze. They gotta prove that this choice was good, and that the partnership is working, and that their research is, like, coming together in any way. And it doesn't go great at first, because obviously he hasn't had time to talk to Theo, because he couldn't leave him a note. And then he meets Theo's shit ass, like, cousin, and she's awful. It is weird how many horrible women there are in this book, but that's not the point. She's awful and bad, and clearly Theo hates her too. And you're like, not even Theo likes his family. It's like, so maybe I can cut him at least a little slack and we can work together, because he's clearly not whatever they want him to be. And then after that, it's smooth sailing. He also gets flirted with by a bartender and clocks that Theo's mad about it, but doesn't clock how mad about it, because, of course, a tall, handsome, long hair, he's possessive. But he also notices that Theo's really fucking pretty when he's got, like, snowflakes on his eyelashes and his so sharp cheekbones. He's just so pretty. And after they come to their little understanding, they're just like, okay, I think we're on a little better footing now. Then the cocktail party is fine, because it turns out they kind of naturally just work really, really well together. And so, like, yeah, they can schmooze really well, even if they're both lying out their asses. But they do a really good job. And then work goes on. Like, it's not smooth. And they do have moments. And then they have, like, good conversations about it in, like, a fairly realistic way. and not like this idealized version of the perfect man who's never done anything wrong in his life and always has like the best like therapized like answer for everything. And it's like clearly neither of them do because they're shit at taking care of themselves, but they do have like good conversations. It's like, especially within like more breadcrumbs, like of when they're deciding where to start with their research and their work, of like Theo deciding that, and he even uses the words, yours has merit, which Sebastian just doesn't clock. It clearly does not clock it. But I clocked it. It's like he thinks that Sebastian's project is 1, solvable, 2, applicable. Like it has practical applications to the world and is therefore more important. And Sebastian just doesn't clock it. So Theo makes the decision for them that they're going to work on Sebastian's first. And Sebastian does freak out about it. And then he calms down because they have a conversation and is really good and healthy. But then Theo's mom had an accident during her own magical research and is in a care facility, like full-time care facility. She's not like specifically comatose exactly, like she's awake. I didn't look up close enough what the like real world analog would be for what had happened to her and what she was dealing with, like what illnesses and stuff she was dealing with. Do not start playing with that puzzle. Once again, the cats. So anyway, they call because his mom has had a seizure and he just freezes and doesn't know what to do, panicking, just complete dissociation, like just he's gone. And so we see Sebastian like guide him through calling his car, like getting his stuff together, putting on a jacket because it's still freezing cold outside. They just had dagger hail the other day and everything's a little bit nasty out. And like, because he sees that Theo doesn't have anybody he could call, even if he wanted to. And he's like, all right, you're not dealing with this alone, even though like we hate each other. I'm coming with you. I'm gonna make sure you get there safely. And it's really sweet. And clearly we have more moments of like the nursing staff there being like so nice and sweet and they love Theo. And then they've also heard Theo tell his mother about Sebastian, about this like angry little idiot who's been making his life living hell. And so they get there, like it's the like he's never brought anyone before. It's that trope. And it's really cute and sweet because they're clearly like, obviously these two are in love, even if they're pretending they don't know it yet. And it was cute and it hurt. And we see you good, bud? We see how good they are at taking care of who they care about and so fucking bad at taking care of themselves. They are so bad at taking care of themselves. But they can take care of the people that they care about and the people surrounding them. And that's another really realistic touch. And then they also go back to work and do more. And then, as they're working and they're getting through things and they're like making progress, not really, but then they are, Theo has a theory that might work for Sebastian's project. And then Sebastian's looking at this theory. He's like, oh, this could actually work. And then he like gets like that overwhelmed, like, oh my fucking God, this is everything. And obviously that's when they finally fucking kiss. They could have been doing this so much earlier, but they chose not to because they are stupid. Of course, enemies to lovers, he freaks out, he turns invisible, and he runs away. And that's when you find out that he's not been denying his attraction to Theo because of who Theo is, who Theo is like, it's attached to, but it is not like the root. The root of it is that the family Theo is a part of deeply hurt Uruk. Also hurt Sebastian, but Uruk's more important. And he was so afraid of betraying Uruk by getting with Atoriel. And like, I don't know, like the way it was handled was really, really painful but sweet. And the conversation they have, because obviously he immediately goes over to find Uruk on the practice field, and Uruk's the best dude, like MVP of the book. He's my favorite himbo. Giant, beautiful idiot. I love him. He's so sweet. Is like, Theo is not his family. Like, I'm sorry that you didn't realize that I knew that. Like, I know that he's not. And if you like him, it's fine. And Sebastian's just like, what? And like, I do though. And it's like, obviously they go out clubbing. And when we come up to like another trope is that they're out at the club. Uruk obviously told Theo what club they're going to. Theo was there. But Sebastian gets accosted by two rapscallions who turn out to be the actual people he was in a prank war with. And it turns out they are also stupid, but like more so because they're undergrads, of course. And they do try to, because one of them is a half siren, and they do try to compel Sebastian to take a like clearly messed with poisoned shot. And Theo steps in and is like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, okay, now you're getting kicked out because you did try to poison, like you interfered with an actual drink and tried to make someone drink it. I don't care if the fact that all it did was because he forced one of them to drink, and it was like, you can drink it or you can leave. And he drank it, and it turns out it just had like a little spell in it that would turn him polka dots and the colors of the college. So it was like, it had this like other effect of like, oh, that's it. And Sebastian's like, oh my god, they're so fucking stupid. Is that what I looked like while I was pranking, bullying you? It's like, did I look that fucking stupid? And then of course they have that moment of like, are you okay? And his hair falls down and it creates a curtain around them, so it's just them. Even though they're in a loud club, it's just them. And it's like, are you hurt? Trope. But it was really cute. It was a trope though. Like, it happens all the fucking time. And they dance, and then they go home intending to fuck nasty. But first they have a really realistic conversation about boundaries. Like, it's not the like overdone, too involved kind of conversation that kind of like sometimes happens. It's not like a really, really involved negotiation that's like two people about to have sex would not be having this in-depth of conversation. Also, two 24-year-olds who are going through a lot would not stop to have a conversation that deep. But they do have like a healthy, realistic conversation I could see two 24-year-olds actually having as they're like trying really hard not to just fuck on the kitchen floor right there. So it's like, I appreciate it. Like, they had a very productive, if not overly involved in a way that's just unrealistic, and the worst thing happens. Sebastian's dad astral projects into the house because he doesn't understand boundaries and because Sebastian forgot to put the wards back up. And he says more of the same bullshit of not screwing up his chances again, as if he'd screwed up the last time, which he didn't. He didn't screw up. He's there, and it's fine, and it's fun, and I fucking hate him, and that's fucking forgivable. Like, just that in and of itself, unforgivable. Like, irredeemable. I don't care if he finally comes to his senses. That's irredeemable. And then they fuck nasty. And I will say, I'm ace. I don't like reading sex in general. It does not matter who it is, what it is, any of it. I don't care for it. It's just, it's icky. But I have gotten good at skimming it to see if there is any plot that's happening. Because I do, of course, read fan fiction. It's fine. We don't need to discuss what fandoms I'm a part of. So the sex in this book, because there's so much, there's a lot of it. And the sex in this book is fairly tropey. And I don't mean tropey in like the standard trope. I mean in like the exact same fucking language that women use to write men having sex. Like, and specifically women who've never been men. Like, that's kind of where it's at. Like, just transcribing porn. So it's just like there's such a disconnect, and I don't like it. Like, there was not a lot of plot happening in the sex, so it's fine. I'm sure other people will have mileage for it. It's just like, what was the point? Like, the point is the romance. It's a romance book. Why the fuck is the point the sex? Thankfully, the actual book was good and the point wasn't the sex. There's just a lot of it in there. Like, that's not for me. I'm not the target audience. Whatever. They fuck a lot. They go back to work. Eventually, they have to go to another big event as, like, the winners of this grant to, like, represent. And it turns out to be, like, the Founders Day Festival. And they've got to do a competition against their own advisors. So it's a conjurer and evoker and a conjurer and evoker. It's just the olds versus the babies. That's all well and good until a text comes in from Sebastian's mother, because she has such good timing. Dad got the fucking job. Dad got the job. And isn't that so great? The least you could do is give him a call and congratulate him for fucking winning the position at the camp that tried to ruin Sebastian and Oryx's lives, and that they blame Sebastian and Oryx for not being okay with. And that's bad. That's one. But he's like, that's a bad he can deal with. He is going into this actively, like, on the edge of an anxiety attack or a panic attack. But it's fine. He can deal with it. It's fine. But, like, even Theo is like, you know what? You look like shit. You look bad. You don't look like you're handling whatever's happening. Like, we can just go. I will leave. And that's when, like, Sebastian's like, oh, even Theo's, cats. And he's like, oh, Theo also cares about me. Gritty is over here in my usual corner. He's just going round and round chasing a ball inside the donut. It's fine. I'm gonna keep going. Anyway, so he goes into this like having a panic attack and realizing Theo cares about him enough to, like, completely and entirely give up being here to, like, take care of him. But it's fine. What's the competition? Oh, you can't take in your own components? It turns out that's another huge trigger for Sebastian, and he's like, oh no. So he's going into this competition without anything of his own, like, with no tools to protect himself, which is a huge fucking trigger. So he goes in having an actual panic attack and just dealing with it and trying to work through it. Cats, I swear to God, if you start fighting right now. He goes in actually panicking. And Theo's like, he clocks it and he knows, was like, all right, you say you're fine. I'm not going to force you to not be. And then one of the components provided, because there are components provided, they just can't take in their own. They would just have to have, like, an even split of, like, what they can and can't use. he picks up the one box that's supposed to have iron in it, and as they're running around, because they're fighting what is it, a spitting ooze cube, which is like a combination of like 40 different D&D monsters, which was very funny to me. It also freezes, it's not acid, which is also funny. The component he needs is the iron lock. Good old iron. He opens the box. It's not there. The one thing he needs isn't there, and he loses it. It is like that immediate, it's like, fuck. They're not going to do this to me again. Like, fine, I want to get out of here. If we have to win to get out of here, I will win, and I will destroy this fucking monster so, like, wholly. And then Theo is just like, hey, you're fine. What do we need? We will pivot. This is fine. We can do a different spell. We can just teleport the thing over there, and they can have 2 monsters, and we'll win. And it's fine. You're okay. And Sebastian's like, as he's slowly coming down, he's like, I'm fine. He doesn't even know what's wrong. And he's like, I'm fine now. And he's dealing with this with me and for me. And that's really nice. And I want him to know what happened. And that's when he realized, like, oh, go on a date with me. Sir, you are having an actual panic attack in the middle of a competition in front of loads of people, and you almost just had an explosive meltdown. I don't think now is the time, even though that's a really cute reason for suddenly realizing you want to date someone. It's like, I want to date him because I want him to know me. That's so fucking sweet, and it hurts so much also. I'm obsessed with them, basically, is what I'm saying. And then they do win. Because they do. In the middle of this, they fucking do it, and they win, and it's fine. And then some things happen with Orok that set up the next book, so you're gonna have to read this one, because I do recommend this book. Like, I'll say it. I recommend this book. I've already recommended it to like 15 people. So they go on a date that night. It's like, you know that they're gone for each other, even if they're not dealing with it until right this moment. You know. But what the fuck does Theo make for dinner? Because obviously he cooks dinner, because like, he's been thinking about this forever, and he knows exactly what he wants to do with Sebastian, and he wants to make him fucking dinner. He makes Marry Me fucking chicken. They don't even say it. They're just like reading the ingredients of it, and I was like, you motherfucker. Of course it's Marry Me fucking chicken. So cute. And then they talk, and the thing that happened at Camp Marathel is very, very, very bad and very scary. And I don't want to like ruin the entire thing, but it's basically a bunch of adults training kids to be in the armed forces, and then they chose a special bunch to do some experiments on and with, just testing like the bounds of magic and the bounds of connection between casters and components, like locking 2 children in a room with no components and getting them to cast one spell to unlock the door, in which they need iron. And if you don't have an iron component you can use, where do you get it? You get it from blood. And in this instance, he got it from Orok. So that's so fucking terrifying and scary and the worst. And I was not expecting it to be quite that bad and awful, because the bones of this are really they're like good and they're solid and they have a place. It just feels like they're a bit like rickety and light. They're like they're not built from the right material to hold up all of this trauma. But it somehow worked, and they talk about it, and it's big, bad, and scary. And then they fuck some more. There's just the sex of, aside from feeling exactly the same as all other man-on-man sex written by a woman, it does feel a bit healing cockish, because they do typically have sex on page immediately after having a very big, usually painful, emotional moment like that. Also, I think I forgot to talk about Theo's mom. Her accident happened when she was studying the exact same thing that Theo brought for his project. Like, he chose her work, and that's what went wrong and like left her in the state that he is. And after that, his dad abandoned him, just completely left the plane. He is now in the Fae plane because he's an elf, and elf are descended from Fae. It's a whole thing. It is also D&D canon. Yeah, so he's just gone. He's just left Theo, a grieving child, alone. And we meet, finally, Theo's familiar, who you've never met, because his familiar is a snake of some kind that I forgot to write down, named Paris. I think that's how you say her name. Who just lives in like a terrarium like a normal snake. And there's something to be said here of Sebastian, who is so the subject of his parents' and his family's ire for so many horrible, like, years at this point, is just like cannot escape it. Whose familiar is invisible, so he can, one, go unseen and unnoticed and finally have some peace, but can also get away with and sneak in and do the things that his family has accused him of for so long. And Theo, who's been abandoned and alone for so long, and his familiar just living like a cherished pet who gets like taken care of and cared for and like loved, and just gets to live in a terrarium like a real snake. There's so much there, and it's so great and sad. Is great and sad. Anyway, they have the talk, then they fuck, and then after they fuck, they are cute and are basically dating, and then they get back to work because they still got to finish this project and graduate. And of course, they do their testing. They find out Theo's like theory, like, it works, and they do all their testing, and it works, and it works, and it works, and like, they're done. Like, they can write their paper and turn it in because they fucking did it. And of course, after celebrating, who's there? Mom and Dad. Sebastian's parents, because, of course, Dad took over the camp, which means he has access to the records, and he can see that, whoa, wow, his son didn't fucking lie to him. They were just the worst fucking awful, borderline abusive in a lot of ways, horrible fucking awful parents for no reason. Because they could have protected their son, but they fucking didn't. They didn't. And it took him finally just looking at the actual fucking records to realize, boy howdy, I've just completely and entirely tried to ruin my son's life and my relationship with him. I fucking hate them. There's a quote I want to read. Oh, I forgot a quote I was going to read earlier. Because they went to military camp because his dad's like a general, is big high. All of his relatives, family are in military. What he's talking about is like, they did have like such a good relationship beforehand, and then they immediately turned, and suddenly he was like the worst child ever, and they couldn't believe what the fuck he had done to them. by trying to tell them how they were awful. That's why you're here, like why you've come, to get credit for doing the bare minimum 6 years too late. Where the hell were you when I came home from camp every summer malnourished and ill, and you told me I needed to beef up before next year? Where the hell were you when I had to rip blood out of Oroc's body? I could feel his heart slowing down. Do you have any idea what that's like? I could feel him dying. I came home after that and you told me I was a failure. Where were you then? Real questions with no real answers. I don't think I would have forgiven them after that. Because Sebastian's fucking right. Where the fuck were they? They were treating him like shit. That's where they were. And they were doing it like you don't get to have your son back just because you realized that you fucked up. Like, that is the bare minimum. Like, I'll grant you, saying sorry is more than most people who have shit-ass parents like this get. I will grant you that. And Sebastian's dad did turn over those records to, like, the magical authorities, resigned, and talked with a lawyer to see if there was literally anything they could do. That is far more than a lot of people get. I will grant you. I still find them unforgivable. And so when you get to the end of the book and you get into that like thing and they suddenly have a good relationship again and his parents are all laughing and they're all having a good time, I'll get there. But they're about to graduate. They have other things to think about. Like, glad you came to your fucking senses, Dad. Glad you love me again. So they have to go back to work because they still have to present things. And that's when the actual tears them apart happens. Because this was just like, this was a moment. It's bad. We'll deal with it later. Sebastian wants to do for Theo's project what Theo did for his and solve it. And he does. And then quickly realizes, oh, this could be actually abused in a really horrible way. Like what happened to me and Oroch. And Theo is like, well, okay, we could do this, this, and this. And Sebastian's like, hey, you're thinking like a Toriel. And you're thinking of a solution that could be misused in some really bad, dangerous ways. And then they get into a fight because they try to calm down. And then when Sebastian told him the story, he was like, I do not need you to get revenge for me. I don't want you to know who did this. I don't care if they're related to you. Like, I just need you to know what happened. I don't need for you to fight for me. And Theo was like, okay, I won't. And to his credit, he doesn't. He does look up who was there at the camp who would have hurt him, just for good reasons, to like, so I'm not close to this person. I haven't brushed shoulders with this person. I'm like not connected to them in any way. And I never have had to play nice to them ever. And it's like, fair. Sebastian kind of rashly reacts to that news and is like, wait, you know who did this? Like, I told you I didn't need that. And Sebastian's like, well, I wasn't intending to do that. I was trying to, like, just let me talk. And it's a painful fight. And then Sebastian says some things that are, like, borderline unforgivable. And Theo says a thing that I actually truly would find unforgivable if he said that. Like, he said a bad thing. And then he runs away because he knows he said a bad thing. And Sebastian's like immediately like, oh, I fucked up and he fucked up and I am the reason that he fucked up and I forgive him for fucking up, and like handles it in a very like mature way, all things considered. He's like, I need to go talk to Theo. Where's Theo? And Theo texts him back and he's like, I need time and a little space right now. And Sebastian's like, fuck that. And Orok's like, actually, no, fuck that. You're going to give him the space that he asked for, and we have things to talk about. Once again, you should read the book. If you haven't. Like, if you're here and you haven't read the book, you should read the book. It's really cute. And Orok's the best character, so I'm not spoiling his parts. And Orok's like, yeah, no, you're giving him the space. And tomorrow when you go to present, he'll be there and you'll talk later. It turns out Orok was wrong, and he did not need the space, because this is a man who's been abandoned his entire fucking life at this point, and to be abandoned in this moment and left to his own devices alone because he does not have an Orok yet. They get to the presentation in the next morning and realize that Theo had sent it in previously, like the night before, without his name on it and only Sebastian's name. And he's resigned from the grant program. And also, he's emailed his advisor that he's dropping out. And Orok's like, maybe we shouldn't have given him that space. And it's like, yeah, no, actually, yeah, no, you shouldn't. You shouldn't have. And then Sebastian's like, you know what? No, I'm not letting him lose this shot. And I'm going to go in there and I'm going to fucking do such a good presentation. And I'm going to say fuck you to his family. And then it all happens off page. And then it's over. And then he's getting into the car with Theo's driver to go to where Theo is, which is, of course, at his mom's care facility with his mom. But that car chase happens off page because Theo's family does kind of like, hey, you stop right there, just like runs out comically after the thing. And nothing comes of it. And I really just like, I wanted that resolution and it didn't come. But he goes to Theo's mom, and like the grand romantic gesture isn't the like doing the presentation and making sure that Theo will graduate for all of the work that he's done. It's, he just walks right in and then he kneels down and he tells it to his mom, and it's really cute. It's really sweet. And then they kiss, and then the book's over. And then you have the epilogue-ish chapter that's 4 years later where they're playing like proposal chicken, and it's actually really fucking cute. And I'm so mad that the resolution between like all of the work that those shit-ass parents would have had to do to gain any kind of like true forgiveness, to rebuild any kind of relationship, it happens off page. And I personally hate that, because I want that. That's what I wanted, because just like the events of this book are so heavy. Like the bones are good, but the bones are so, I don't mean flimsy in the like they're shit way. I mean flimsy in they're not built from material meant to withstand a whole hell of a lot. And then you put a whole hell of a lot and then some on top of them. And it shouldn't have worked, but it did. And it's really frustrating, because that means that as you go into this book, like I am expecting so much from this book, but it's still like you took this big urban fantasy drama and this family drama, this slice of life-ish drama, and you shoved it into the constraints of a Hallmark enemies to lovers like story. So like there's so much happening, and I want more of this big thing happening, like the flesh of this book, the living space, like the wallpaper, the furniture that is setting on the frame of this story. I wanted more of that outside of the constraints of the frame that it's placed in. And that's like my biggest complaint about the book. It's like the bones are good. The structure is good. It flows well. Like the pacing is good. Like it just has to, like, to fit those constraints, it has to like rush through the bits that I want more of, because of the like the heaviness and the flesh of this book that's been placed on this frame was so good and so much that to like cut it off right there, just it ruined it a little bit for me. Like, I think it also has to do with I read it twice, and I don't think personally that it held up to multiple readings, because going in the second, like, it benefits very much for being surprised, like for being shocked at like the true heaviness of it. Like it benefits a lot from that. So when you go in the second time and you're reading it and you already know what's happening, you have a lot more time to realize like the disconnect between the romance book and the fantasy book, if that makes sense. And what's fucked up is it shouldn't have worked and it did. And that's what's really fucked up about all of this. Like 4 stars. Like, or maybe like a high 3.9. Because I do think I have like complaints with the book itself, but I do think in all actuality, a lot of my complaints are my complaints with the romance genre, i.e. the sex. There's so much of it. And the fact that the bones of it are so light that it doesn't feel like it can carry the book itself. Like the fleshy bits that I really, really liked. I'm not explaining this well, but they took such a big, wonderful book story and shoved it into these constraints. And somehow the constraints held up and it was still good, but in a lot of ways, it feels like 2017 Power Rangers, which is a movie I love so much. But again, it's like, it's 2 movies happening at the same time. It is the goofy Power Rangers movie that it should have been, and then it's a generic action movie. And my love of the bits that, like this goofy Power Rangers bit, like the love I have for that outweighs the hatred I have for this. In a lot of ways, like the love I have for this, like what this book was, outweighs my want for what it could have been, if that makes sense. Like if you added 300 more pages and just turned this into a very like long drawn out family melodrama, I would eat the shit out of that. But that's not what the book is. And the book is still good, even though I think what the book could have been is also really good. I don't know. I'm complaining about a lot of things that aren't worth complaining about. The book was very good. I highly recommend it. 4 fucking stars. It was really, really enjoyable. Even though I personally do not think Sebastian's parents should have been given a second fucking chance. And if they were given a second fucking chance, I would have liked to see the work that they put in to be better parents to their child. That's all I'm fucking saying. I hate them. And if Gorgia Monroe gets the same treatment in the second book, I will be mad. Because we don't hear from her again, so I don't know if she's done anything within all of this to be better to both her son and the people her son cares about. I don't know. But she better fucking have. And I better see evidence of that, is all I'm fucking saying. Because she also pissed me off so bad. I'm gonna go now. Ooh. I put my notes like right under the webcam so that it's like it's right there and I remember to actually look at them. And I have been using them and it was really good, but I feel like you're gonna hear me take the little cards off the hooks I've put here. But that's not the point. The point is, yeah, read the book. If you were here for the last video, you should tell me what things you got from the ShortBox Comics Fair. Because if you didn't get anything, what's the fucking point? Like, you should fucking get it. Like, if you sat through that mess, and you didn't get books. Like, what? Anyway, sorry. This video is very disjointed because I'm working off notes from 3 weeks ago. Hades 2, so fucking good. I did beat it eventually. Worth it. Like, I understand the criticisms of the ending because she doesn't have a lot of, like, autonomy with it. It just, like, ends and she kind of has to go with it. So it would have been nice to have, like, some option to, like, end the game completely and like, with the disillusionment of time, and then the game just ends, or make the choice Zagreus did and, like, allow him to live as this changed man. Themes, whatever, beside the point. I still, like, I understand the criticism, but my love of the game outweighs my criticisms of it. Much like this book, it's a good book. Honestly, I think, yeah, like, I'm gonna, like, change it, like, yeah, closer to, like, a 3.9, a 3.8, somewhere in there. Like, I don't think a full 4 stars, just because I'm a bitch who doesn't like the romance genre. Anyway, it's a good book. You should read it. I swear to fucking God that Buffalo Hunter Hunter is next. Even if it takes me, like, 2 months to edit because it ends up 4 hours long. I need to do that. I have a lot of library books I also need to read and give back. Yeah. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Buffalo Hunter Hunter next. Or maybe, once again, I'll wait because it is a winter horror. Like, it is a winter book. It's not a Halloween book. It's a winter book. Might do that. What the fuck ever. I don't care. This is a good book. I need to go because I'm losing light. I'm starting to sweat. And the cats really want food because they're starting to go crazy. I need to go. I still don't know how to end these. Thank you for being here. I love you.